All right, moving on the step two. In the step one, actually, we have received the data, we have perfectly evaluated it, emitted it, all the data, job ID, everything is settled. Now, in the step two, we want to evaluate whether the channel exists or not. And for that, we have to call the YouTube API. Now, you can install some of the packages from YouTube itself, provide just a environment variable, it works out of the box. But you don't need to do that. You can actually just make a fetch call on the YouTube API and some endpoints, and you can receive the data. Now, only thing we have to worry on is whether somebody has given us the data with @ channel name or just the channel name, and we can search for both of them. Super easy process, and this is where we learn about the step two of how the Motia workflow works. So here we can see that this is the step one, so we are done with this part. In the step two, we are on to this one, which is the resolve channel. We will handle the channel ID. And this is the step two where YouTube API is being called, and we simply emit one more event, which is YouTube channel resolved. So the way how emit event these works, we'll first of all catch this event. If this event is being emitted, this automatically step two actually executes on that. Super easy, nothing to work on. Just follow me up and you will understand, just like you understood the APIs part nicely. So first step is to have some of the environment variables. And by the way, this needs to be in the root of the package. So we'll just call this one as .env. And couple of environment variables you need to have. You can just easily grab them, super easy. The first one is we are going to have the YouTube API key. We'll have that. I'll not show you my keys, but you need to just grab it. After that, you'll also need OpenAI API key. Now this also you need to grab. And by the way, in case you don't want to use OpenAI, there is a small trick. I will show you that. An exact same code can be utilized with the Gemini as well, or Anthropic, or whatever makes sense to you. Apart from that, we'll also need the resend API key. Resend is going to be our mail client, and we'll also need resend from email. Now here's the interesting thing about the resend email. You have to provide this onboarding @resend.dev. Why so? If you pay Resend, they allow you to just customize your own email client with your own domain. But if you don't, you are on the free plan. They have a generous free plan to test this out. You have to keep the email exactly same. I'll not open this file up. I'll actually save and edit these things once I'm off the camera. So I'll do that. All right. So this part is all done. Let's close all of this. Now let's work on the step two. Create a new file. We'll call this one as 02. You don't need to call it exactly 02, but it makes sense for me. This one is going to be for resolving the channel. So I'll just call this one as resolve channel. That's the most important. That's the easy part. The important one is to call this one as step.ts. Okay, now a whole lot of part is going to be almost exactly same. So we can actually go ahead and copy some of this data. So I can just copy this whole thing and come up here. Now, instead of having the API route config, because we have already studied that, this time we want to learn about the event config. So we'll just go ahead and say we want event config from this. And once we have this, we have to provide the configuration for this event itself. Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, this is our actually step two, and this step is going to be revolved about converting the YouTube name or the handle of the channel into the channel ID. Each channel on the YouTube gets a unique ID. So make sure you write that, otherwise it might be very confusing at the later end that what you're doing in this step. So this one actually converts YouTube handle or maybe name to channel ID using YouTube data API. Now, do you have to study the data API of YouTube for this? Yes, you have to. All right. So event config, the configuration. Now the configuration is a little different. The name can be exactly same. This is going to be resolve channel. So any name for your event itself. In this, the type API doesn't exist. So if you go ahead and look for it, there's only one, which is event. So that's exactly what we want. Path and method doesn't make sense in this one, so they don't have it. Now, this one is an event itself. So this event needs to trigger based on something should receive. And this is where actually your subscribes, what this event subscribe to, so that when that event happens, I will do something. So this one is subscribed. So we'll just go ahead and add this one. There we go. Now Luckily, I have this YouTube submit here, so I'll just copy and paste this. Make sure you don't make any mistake in this one. So once you have this subscribed, this can also actually emits more event. So for example, this can actually submit to YouTube channel dot resolved, or there might be an error in this case. So we'll just say YouTube dot channel dot error. And we can craft a simple step which actually looks and monitor for this particular event only. And based on that, we can feed the error events or respond to that. So that's the easy part. Now, once we have this, make sure you don't pay much attention on this. This is just input type is missing. We need to add more data types and all of that. That's okay. No need to worry on that part. Now, next step, what is the next step? Simple, just design your handler. So just like we had a handler here, we can actually grab all of this, copy this, and we can paste this. Just the way you write your handlers, there we go. Simple, basic handler. Now in this, we don't have a request because this is an event, it's not handling the API. Here we actually have this event data that can be of type any. But on the other hand, this emit, logger, state, they will still be with you. So that's the easy part. And that's it. You have got your logger in itself. Now, once we are into the logger, now we have to define some of the business logics here. And this is where I want you to focus just on the screen. So I'll just remove myself so that you can focus just on the business logic. I'll move this a little longer. There we go. All right. So what is the first thing that you want to do? You should have a job ID and you should have an email as well. So let's just say we have a job ID. This is going to be a simple string. If it is not a string, then it can be undefined as well. That's nice. What else we have? We can have an email as well, which is also be in string, or it can be undefined as well. Undefined. There we go. Now next up is we need to have a try catch block. And again, we will write exactly same the catch block just like we have written in the past one as well. But this time we can actually go ahead and do a little more. So let's actually handle the catch part first. Step one, we'll have the logger, which is going to emit an event of error. We'll go ahead and say error resolving channel. And let's also provide some data as well, which is error dot message. And yes, this is exactly same as we worked on the past one. Why are you having an issue? I guess we can write any to just make sure they don't give us the bother. Now there could be another thing. There might be things like there could be no job ID, no email. So we have to write custom one for them. Again, this is not required, but I'm just trying to make sure that write it as much better as you can. If there is no job ID or no email, then we simply go ahead and put up a logger dot error, and we can say cannot send error notification because we have a missing job ID or email. All right, good enough. And at this point, I would love to return it here because I don't want the rest of the stuff to execute. And we can actually provide more of the job data and job ID because somebody might be subscribed to this error part. Remember, we are not only just throwing the result, we are also handling the error part. So how do we handle the error part in this? That's actually easy. Once we are done with this if part, then I'll go up here and I'll create a simple job data. And this job data is await. We'll pull up some of the job data from the state. Let's get it. Yeah, super easy. Just go ahead and grab it. And what you need is job, which is going to be dollar and my job ID. There we go. So now that I have a job data, I will set this into the job ID itself in the state actually. So await and state dot set. And in this one, I'll just go get my backticks. I'll say the job for which I'm setting this all is going to be my job ID. Dollar here and my job ID. And what is the data that you want to have it up here? Comma, there we go. This is the object that travels. So let's just say we expand this and whatever existing job data, we keep it that also. We add our job data as well. And the status obviously gets as failed in this one. Once we are done with this, we will have an error. And this error is going to be error.message. Sounds easy. Why we are doing all of this? We didn't did all of this in the previous one because previous one, we are just sending the request response in the body, but this time we will be emitting an event. And that's why we are doing all of this because uh, we are supposed to send some of this one. Once you are done with this, you are ready with all the data. Now you can emit an event. So I'll just go ahead and say await, emit, and there we go. First of all, let's go with the topic. And the topic is exactly same. So I'll just copy paste because I do typos even in the TypeScript files. So this is my topic on which I am emitting an event. Then I have to provide some data as well. The data is going to be step 1, job ID. This one will have an email. And let's also have an error. And which is going to be failed to resolve channel. Please try again. Sounds good enough. And the best part is, notice here that I am actually setting everything in the state itself. So I don't need to send this whole data or the job data here. All of the data actually travels with the job ID itself. From the job ID itself, I can grab any data that I want. So this is the part where we go ahead and handle the error part. So I hope you got an idea that how this is being handled. Now, once this is being done, next part is my try block. Remember, this whole thing is a catch block. Now, what do you want to do in the try block? Now, easiest thing in the try block is, first of all, filter your data. There might be an @ in your data. There might not be an @. So handle both the two cases. And then you have to send just an API request. I'll show you how that's being done. So let's go ahead and take care of that. All right. So the try part, first of all, let's grab some data. How do you grab the data? Now, data is super easy. You can simply grab the data from event data. That's why this exists. Or it might be an empty object. There might be no data in this. So this event data is responsible for traveling of all the data when the emitting of the event happens. And this is a big object in itself. So what you can do with this is you can have this job ID, which you have already defined at the top. I can just simply say data dot, and I can have the job ID. And that's it. I have the job ID. Similarly, I can have the email. Whatever you're transmitting or emitting, you can grab it there. Data.email. Now you technically have the email. And let's also define the channel. How we're going to grab the channel. Again, same data.channel. Whatever you're transmitting, you can have this. Now let's see whether we have this data or not. I'll just go ahead and say logger.info. And again, by the way, at the production, you can just remove all of them. Resolving YouTube channel. And in here, we will say job ID. And what else we are having? Channel. There we go. I forgot comma. All right, so hopefully now you have got this one. Now the step 1 is to grab the YouTube key. So let's just say we will have the YouTube API key. And the best part is I don't have to install anything. I can just say process.env. Motia gives you that. So process.env.YouTube API key. And obviously we'll check this. If there is no YouTube API key, then I can simply throw new error. Come on. There we go. Throw new error. And we can simply say YouTube API key is not configured. Good enough. Okay, what next you want to do? All right, I have checked for the key whether it is present or not. Now the step 1 is to update the job status because, hey, we are resolving. So we are already in the next step of it. First, let's grab the job data and how we can grab this. We have to await. We can use the state dot get. And what do we want to get? I want to grab the job with the name of this job ID. Once I have this, I can actually call this one as job data. There we go. Once I have this, now I can just go ahead and update just the status. I don't want to have the update of the job data or anything. Just keep them as it is. Just want to update the status. So how I can do that? Simply again, await this In the state, I want to set, remember, you have to set everything in the state. So be careful for that. And use backticks. I will say for the job with the ID of job ID that I have. What is the data that I want to set? I will load all the existing job data. So whatever you are holding, I'll give you that back. Only thing that I want to update is your status. The status is now resolving channel. Makes sense. Super easy. Nothing to worry. Okay. Now we have to figure out whether user is providing us the channel ID or the channel name itself, because both of them are different. User might provide us with the handle itself. So a couple of cases, and again, it's not a big deal. You could have just one, but since I have handled both the cases, I'll walk you through with the both of them. So I'll just go ahead and say if the channel dot starts with @, if somebody is giving me this @, then I have to strip the value off. That's all I have to do. I'll call this one as handle. Yeah, in the YouTube ecosystem, we call it as channel handle. So we'll just go ahead and say channel, and we need to grab a substring from it. Substring, I think that's a string now, the newer method. We'll check it out. And we'll just say 1, so it will remove just the @ symbol, and that's it. Now the next thing is you have to craft a search URL based on that. So we have other case as well where we don't have @, so we have to craft that one as well. But again, no worries. Once we have this, then craft a search URL. And by the way, once you install the package, you don't have to craft this. You just have to call the method, and that's what the packages does for you. But anyways, I have the URL ready for you. You can just use as it is my URL. It's actually mentioned in the docs as well. You can refer to them. It's simply googleapis.com/YouTube. Make sure it is v3, and then the search, which is part equals snippet, and the channel is type channel with the query of encode URI component. Yes, and this is where you pass on your handle. And then you have to provide your key as well, which we have already got. So this is basically the search URL that you will be getting. Now, once you have the search URL, you can just make a fetch request or an Axios request to it. That's it. That is all it takes. All right. So how we're going to do that? Let's say this is going to be a search response. I can go ahead and simply use an await. And in that, just add a fetch. And this is our search URL. Told you, it's super easy to work on with this. Once we have done this, you know the next step also. We are going to await for the search response that we have, and we need to convert this as JSON because data is a string and we want it to be in the JSON format. This is our search data. This is classic JavaScript 101. No big deal there, as it is super simple. Now, the next step comes up is through the data. You have to console log this and have to read a little bit on the docs of YouTube APIs as well, that once you receive this data, what kind of things are there? There are search item in this, there are snippet in this. Just study them. It's just like studying a simple JSON object, and that's it. So if we have this search data, and if the search data has this items, and this search data dot items dot length is greater than 0, that means we have some data in it. Then what we can do, we can grab the channel ID or the channel name from it. So we'll just go ahead and say channel ID. All right, so we need to grab the channel ID with this one. Do we have the channel ID and name here? Looks like we didn't declare them. We should be declaring them at the first. So before we even start checking this channel, let's go ahead and declare a variable, because they might be there and they might not be there. It is a good idea to declare them here. So I'll just go ahead and say channel ID. That can be of type string, or it can be null, which is going to be null. So by default, we'll add a value. And let's just say we have the channel name, which can also be a string, or by default, we'll add a value just like this. Now, once we have this one here, that means we got some of the data. Now we are checking it, removing the @sign. Then we are making a request to the APIs. And then once we actually get the data from it, from this, we can actually have the channel ID. And the channel ID will come from the search data dot items. And this is the very first. Yes, it gives you an array. And this is where you get the snippet. Yeah, this is mentioned in their docs. I'm not making this up. And then you have the channel ID. So this is how you grab the channel ID from the response that YouTube gives you. Similarly, you have a channel name as well. And how do you grab the channel name? Again, from the search data, you have items, the first one, and in that, you again have a snippet, and in that you get the title. So you get the channel ID as well as channel this. Again, you have to verify whether this is all good or not. In the else case, we'll also worry on that. So else case is somebody searching with the channel name itself. This one was @. This one is directly. So here what we can do is we can just directly go with that. It's super easy. First is we don't need to do all this substring and all of this. We can just directly go and craft this. So I think let's copy this, paste this. So now we have search, and instead of the handle, we have the channel. There we go. So there we have this handle, but we have the channel directly available. Channel starts with @, then we'll do all of this. But if it is a direct channel, we just pass it on, and should be fairly easy. Now, after that, we can directly make a response. So copy this. Next step is obviously to make a API call to the search URL. Once we have this, we grab the data exactly like this. And let's come back here. There we go. Again, how we extract the data exactly remains same, no big deal. Now, one thing we have to be cautious here is, do we have this channel ID or not? Because this can be a worrisome part. So once we are done with this, let me close this now so that we can understand what's happening, if and else. So we have handled this, grabbed all the data, and we are making a request for the channel, that whether the channel ID was properly resolved or not. Now I would love to check this, whether there is no channel ID that we were not able to grab. Then it's a good time that we log this one. So logger.error, and we can say channel not found. And we can also provide the data of channel. Sounds good. But once we have found this data, then what we can do? If we have found this data, I think we should move forward and get the job done. So await state.set, and get this job is going to be an ID. That's going to be job ID. And let's pass on the data. Interesting. Since we have already extracted the job data, don't need to extract it again. We can just use it. Whatever the fields you want to update or overwrite, we can just do that. So status is, in this case, one more thing. If we haven't found this channel, then we just don't want to log it. We should be actually marking this as a fail. So let's cut this out first. Go inside this if block. And we can simply go ahead and say that in this case, the status got failed. We didn't thought of this one. And error can also be channel not found. All right, this one is good. But if we got everything all good, save this, then this if part doesn't work and we move to the next step. So we need to emit some of the data. So there we go. This is how we emit. And again, we need to provide the topic and data. That's the two things it looks for. So the topic is going to be copy pasted. Yeah, don't want to do that. So topic is YouTube channel resolved. So this has been resolved. So this is my topic. This is being resolved. What is the data that you are sending me up? So the data is an object in which we provide the job ID as it is so that it can be extracted. We need the email and we need the error. Uh, there we go. And we don't need to provide the error here because channel was found. So it could be just a success. So don't need to do that. And I think that is good enough. And once we are done with this, we are done with emitting the event, then we can just simply return this here. I think this is it. So this is a business logic, nothing much, nothing fancy, but you got the idea that how things are being done. Don't worry about this error. This is just a TypeScript stuff that, hey, this is being missing and input is declared here and all of that. But I hope you got an idea that how these events and all these things are uh, being worked on with. And now only thing that's with us is, do we have an error here? I guess not. All looks good. Now, the only thing that's remaining to test this, we'll test this in this next phase of it. I have to just fill up all these YouTube API key. Go into the Google dashboard and grab a YouTube API key, OpenAI keys, and recent and whatnot, all of this. That should be good. I will not show you my keys, so I'll just add them and we'll see you in the next part of the video. That is it for this one. Let's catch up in the next one.